First, Eddie, speak your mind. Hello, Eddie.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Bob.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I've been watching you for, several months now, and you've brought up some pretty interesting issues. One in particular is abortion.
Yeah.
And at one point here a few weeks ago, you was showing some pretty graphic photographs of the abortions and things, and it's not a pretty sight by any means. And am I really for abortion? But I had a question for you.
Yeah.
You've made comments like abortion and things like that, and welfare and doing things, like handing welfare checks out or for food stamps and things like that. My question would be, since you're against abortion and everything, you don't particularly care or are fond of women having abortions and things, but in the same breath, you don't seem to be wanting to try to help on feeding the kids or giving them giving their mothers a way to support them or anything like that. What would be the answer in forcing the women to have the children that they can't support and that the government can't come back and help them with?
All right.
What do we do with those children?
All right, Eddie. First of all, I've never said I don't want to help feed these kids, because I'd be thrilled to help to feed a hungry kid.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've said is I don't think the government should force other people to feed these kids. See, if there's a hungry child and I know about him, then it's not only my responsibility to help feed him if I can, but it's my pleasure to help. It's a sense of, you get joy when you help a hungry child. I mean, who in the world wouldn't travel 500 miles if there was a hungry child that needed food? But what I'm against is the government forcibly taking money from people and making some of those people poor themselves because they take so much, taking money and saying they're going to use that to help people, charity. You don't do evil so that good may come of it. And you don't steal money from people against their will to give charity. Charity is supposed to be a free will offering. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense, but how do you, when you go out, say in particular, like I live here in Indianapolis, and there's a lot of women and children. It's they're standing in the food stamp lines, and they're hoping to get food stamps and things to help feed the kids that they do have, because maybe they couldn't get an abortion for whatever reason. If they don't have an option, if you can't give a woman an option on keeping their children, or if they have to go say, well, I got to have an abortion, and then you got like people on television like you saying, no, he says that's wrong, that's morally wrong, that's terrible, which Eddie, I don't like abortion myself.
Eddie, are you at all going to take into account what I just told you? Are you going to totally ignore it and go on?
Well, I think that if there's children out there and they're homeless and they're hungry, I think it's a moral obligation to the country to try to help these families.
All right. So, Eddie, is there a moral obligation for the country not to allow people to kill unwanted children? Is that also a moral obligation?
I think that if a woman is pregnant and they cannot afford to take care of their children, I think
you kill the child.
Force them to have them.
All right.
Force them to have them, and then turn around and say, hey, you have to have this child here, but you're not going to get a welfare check. All
right, John. All right, Eddie, hold on a second. I'm my director, Jim. I'd like number 5, the 5th step in that procedure. I have a question on that for Eddie. Eddie, so I know you don't want to answer the question yes or no, but I'll put it to you again. I know you answered it, but if you could say yes or no. Does our country have a moral obligation to stop people from killing unwanted children? There, you see on your screen what we're doing in some abortion mills around the country. 6, 7, 8-month-old babies, their hands are moving, their feet are kicking because they're fully alive. They could live on their own. And when he jams that scissors in the back of the head, the arms go out to brace the baby in pain, and they kill the baby.
Absolutely,
Eddie?
Bob. That's not right at all.
Okay, now,
and I agree with you on that totally.
All right, wait, Eddie. I want to know because you're so concerned about feeding people through food stamps, do you agree that our country has a moral obligation to stop this killing of these children?
I think these people need to be educated.
No, I'm not asking you that. Don't give me garbage, all right? I hate talking to politicians. I like straight answers. Do we have a moral obligation to stop? Can we bring that back up? Eddy from Indy, do we have a moral obligation to stop the killing of children? Here, we'll bring up this video again in a moment. To stop this.
Yes, we do, but in the same breath, I think we have a moral obligation if they're going to be forced to have children.
All right, Eddy, that's a second topic. Could we just deal with this? So you're agreeing with me that we need to outlaw child killing like this?
In them terms, yes, I do.
Okay, okay, don't say but. This issue is big enough on its own.
No, you're not letting me answer
Eddy,
the question.
you're
Bob.
right. I'm not.
It's your show.
Eddy,
you can cut me
you're
off
right.
and do what you
I
want.
could.
You
Eddy,
can do that.
Eddy, I'm separating the issues. All right? We'll deal with one, and then I'll correct you on the other. So this, we are both agreed, it's our moral duty to outlaw the killing of unborn children. You agree with that?
In the terms of their when the children is actually got arms and legs and moving and
would you agree?
I'm talking about these ladies that have fetuses that
Eddy,
not
would you
even has a heartbeat or something.
Eddy, all right. Eddy, please, if I interrupt, please pause. Eddy, so how about a baby who's sucking his thumb? Would you agree that if a baby's old enough to suck his thumb, we shouldn't kill him?
We shouldn't kill them, but if the women are going to be forced to have them, I think that the country
Eddy,
should be morally obligated to help.
Eddy, please stop with that, because I want to take one thing at a time. So if the baby's sucking his thumb, you agree it's killing a baby and we shouldn't do it?
Yeah, I don't think that the baby should be killed like that.
Do you know when a baby starts sucking his thumb? Do you know when? Hold on, we'll get back to this guy. Okay, I'm going right back to Eddy in a second here. We're doing 2 shows tonight, so if you're online, you can hang on. And if you haven't been able to get through, as soon as we're off the air, you can try. For the next hour, we'll be doing a second show, putting it on tape for a future date. All right. Hey, Eddy?
Yes, sir.
It's been a long time in this country, hasn't it, since a child has literally starved to death because he can't get any food?
Has it been a long time?
It's been a long time, right? In America. It doesn't happen every day.
It happens probably more than you think.
Well, it hasn't been on the evening.
I see it a lot.
It hasn't been on the evening news in quite a few years.
There's a lot of children that's going to bed hungry in this country.
Well, wait. Have you seen on the news a child that's starved to death because there was no food available in the last 20 years? Have you seen that?
I see it every weekend on television and these religious stations where they're in the Appalachians and these people.
Wait. Have you seen
starving to death and malnutrition?
Let me ask you a question. You've seen babies starving to death in this country because of no food?
Yes, I have.
That's amazing.
Yes, I have.
That's absolutely amazing.
Hey,
let me ask you, why has it not been on 60 Minutes? Because a child starving to death for a lack of food would be a major. If one child starved to death for lack of food in this country, that would be a headline story for 2 weeks. One child. Did you know that?
Now, you'd be insulting the intelligence of the people of this country to sit there and say that there's not kids in this country that are not going to bed hungry.
All right,
every night.
Eddy, could you give me the
Eddy, and they don't have decent places to live.
Eddy, please be quiet. When I want to stop you, you have to be quiet because I'm the host. I don't want to hang up on you. Could you give me the name of one child that starved to death in the last 20 years in America?
Well, I'll tell you what, luckily...
No, yes or no? Yes or no? Don't make me hang up on you.
Don't make me... everywhere.
All right, Eddy, the answer's no, right? Could you give me the name of one city where a child has starved to death in the last 20 years? A city in the month, so we could look it up.
A city?
Yeah, the answer is no.
Well,
now, Eddy, how many kids are killed?
I can't give you a city. You won't let me give you an answer.
You don't have an answer. How many kids are killed by abortion every day?
Oh, I'm sure there's thousands, but I believe...
4,000, Eddy. 4,000.
I'm not saying I'm disagreeing with the abortion.
Eddy, 4,000. Eddy, we only got a minute left. 4,500 kids are being killed every day in this country by abortion. All right? And you're going to call me up and argue with me about my views on socialism and try to get something out of me in order to fully support me in trying to stop child killing. You should be ashamed of yourself, because 4,000